What's going on, guys? It's Drummond. Welcome back to another episode of NBA Kicks, the show where we count down the 10 best sneakers in the NBA every single week of the season. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you never miss an episode. Today we have an absolutely incredible list for you guys. I think there are a lot of sneakers on this list that you guys are absolutely going to love. But before we get to the kicks, let's take a quick news break. Okay, so it finally happened. Andre Drummond has officially joined the Los Angeles Lakers via buyout from the Cleveland Cavaliers, which to me is just absolutely absurd. I mean, Andre Drummond is way too good of a player to just be bought out like that. I don't know how the Cavs didn't find a deal for him. I don't know if they're being difficult or if there really were no buyers for Andre Drummond. I find that hard to believe, but obviously, as a Laker fan, I'm not really complaining because we got a great starting center. But if I were a fan of any other team, I would be pretty upset that a guy like Drummond, who's had 44 20-point and 20-rebound games since he got into the league, which is like way more than anyone else in that same time frame, is able to just sign with a title contender like the Lakers for basically nothing. But my question is to you, does this make it official that the Lakers are going to come out of the West as the champs? I mean, right now, the Clippers, the Suns, and the Jazz, they're all ahead of the Lake Show. So do you guys think one of those teams or maybe someone else is going to come out on top from the West and make it to the finals? Let me know what you think with your prediction down below. But make sure you do it quick because week 12 of NBA Kicks, it starts right now. Starting off the list at number 10, we have Julius Randle with the Nike Kobe 6 system. Julius Randle is having a career year in New York this season, and he cracks the top 10 here with a throwback sneaker, the Kobe 7, which had a very interesting design concept, but despite its creativity and absolutely killer aesthetics, the Kobe 7 is widely regarded as one of the worst performing Kobe sneakers of all time. Julius Randle doesn't seem to mind the lackluster performance, or maybe he just really wanted to wear this old gem on the court. Either way, it's great to see the Kobe 7 back on an NBA floor, as the 7s are the sneaker that I bought the most colorways of, so they definitely hold some nostalgia in for me, but that's still not enough for me to forget how uncomfortable they were performance-wise. I mean, seriously, this was the perfect example of looks. They're not everything. Next up at number 9, we have Jeremy Grant with the cool gray colorway of the Air Jordan 3. So I know both the cool gray and stealth colorways of the Air Jordan 3 don't get a lot of love, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're terrible colorways. It just means that they're not as good as the originals, but it's still nice to see them every now and then on the court. Jeremy Grant rocks the cool gray colorway of the iconic silhouette, which obviously sports a cool gray upper alongside some sport red and orange peel hits, which add a very nice splash of color for what I think is a pretty solid colorway. But again, for whatever reason, people much rather buy multiple pairs of the white or black cements before they end up copping a pair of these, which is fine, but I'm still gonna put them at number 9 on this week's list because it's a pair of kicks that we don't see very often. Coming in at number 8, we have Dwight Howard with the Reebok Pump Omni Zone. Now, not only are Reebok sneakers in the NBA just rare in general, but the Reebok Pump Omni Zone is a very dated sneaker that for whatever reason, Dwight decided to rock, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but Dwight is kind of a weird guy, so I'm giving him extra bonus points here for originality, as well as nostalgia, as the Pump is one of the most iconic sneakers of all time, even though they may not have aged as well as some of its other counterparts, like the previously mentioned Air Jordan 3. Next up at number 7, we have Gordon Hayward with a new colorway of the Anta GH2. Now, if you've been following the channel for a while now, you would already know that Anta has been absolutely killing it with Gordon Hayward's second signature sneaker, with a lot of creative colorways and design concepts. But now, we're starting to see them tone it down a bit with some team colorways that honestly look just as good. This colorway uses a white upper alongside the classic teal and purple Hornets color combo, which absolutely everybody is a fan of and obviously translates very well onto this silhouette. It's a real bummer that the Hornets lost LaMelo for the rest of the season, but hopefully the Hornets can continue to win games, as I'm sure Anta has some incredible colorways of the GH2 lined up for the postseason. But for now, we got this latest colorway, which makes it to number 7 on this week's list. Next up at number 6, we got Derrick Jones Jr. with a gold medal colorway of the Nike KD4. Derrick Jones Jr. decides to lace up in an older silhouette from the KD signature line, but the colorway that he decided to rock is probably one of the best colorways that Nike has ever given Durant. These were created to honor Team USA's gold medal victory during the 2012 London Olympics, and as you can see, the colorway speaks for itself, as it's absolutely beautiful with a metallic gold upper to go alongside some nice red and navies, which rounds out the whole patriotic theme. But the one flaw that these did have were that they came with an extra pair of like pinkish purplish laces, which was the official color of that particular Olympic Games. And Nike definitely could have not given us those laces because it gives the shoe a weird look. But thankfully, Derrick Jones Jr. feels the same way, as he rocks them here with just the regular navy laces, which is definitely the way to go. Next up at number 5, we have DeAndre Ayton with a custom pair of Puma Clyde All Pros. Here we have Bahamas native DeAndre Ayton with a custom colorway that honors his hometown with a ton of personal touches that really give this custom some character. Obviously, you got the very colorful backdrop of the Bahamas with a nice sunset motif, but you also have the classic red, yellow, and green toe box, as well as the flag of Jamaica on the back of the heel. And you could also see a number of texts throughout the silhouette, with the most noticeable one being a hashtag 242 to the world, which I'm just going to assume is the area code for the Bahamas. Yep, just checked, it is. Next up at number 4, we have Jayson Tatum with a wild PE of the Air Jordan 35. Alright, so Jordan Brand hooks JT up with yet another player exclusive colorway of their latest flagship model. And this time it looks like this colorway is inspired by pandas. As you can see here, the Eclipse Plate 2.0 is painted with a bamboo graphic in sort of a jade color scheme, which is also found on the midfoot and outsole, while the rest of the silhouette is covered in black and white. But if you take a close look at the texture of the materials, it seems to be a mixture of pony hair materials, which lead me to believe that this is indeed a panda-inspired colorway. Now, usually I'm not a huge fan of colorways that use pony hair materials. I just think it's kind of a weird look, but this colorway is so on point that I actually am really enjoying them, mainly because despite being inspired by a black and white animal, Jordan Brand added that nice splash of color, which I think really helps these out. And again, they keep pumping out awesome colorways of the 35, but these aren't even the best 35s on this week's list. Next up at number 3, we have Zion Williamson with another colorway of the Air Jordan 35. Now, a few years back, Jordan Brand dropped the Air Jordan 31, which was heavily inspired by the iconic Air Jordan 1, and they actually told us moving forward that all the new Air Jordans were going to use that same design philosophy of honoring the old Air Jordans. So like the 32 was very inspired by the Air Jordan 2, but with the 33, the 34, and the 35, that design philosophy has gotten more subtle. But this latest colorway that Zion rocked kind of makes up for that. Obviously inspired by the Fresh Prince colorway of the Air Jordan 5 with the same gray and black upper to go alongside the bright fluorescent hits on the midsole and inner lining. This colorway translates perfectly onto the modern silhouette, as it's pretty much a direct copy of the original and is most definitely something Jordan Brand should drop on retail shelves. But honestly, they probably should have launched with more Jordan 5 inspired colorways like these. But as we all know, companies usually drop the lackluster colorways first to make you buy them, and then they drop the better ones later so you get multiple pairs. It's a business. Coming in as our runner-up, we have DeMar DeRozan with a new PE of the Nike Zoom Kobe 6. Nike laces DeMar up with another PE of the much-beloved Kobe 6, this time with a very Sprite-inspired colorway that uses an all-blue upper, complete with a lighter shade of blue on the swoosh, as well as a green heel cup and outsole. Other than that, there's not really much to say about this colorway since it's a pretty straightforward design, but the Kobe 6 is such a hype sneaker that pretty much any colorway is going to rank high on these lists. And if these were to drop on the sneakers app, they would definitely sell out in seconds. So just based on that alone, I had to put them as our runner-up on this week's list, because out of all the sneakers on the list, this is the one pair that I would love to add to my collection, but not as much as this next sneaker. Finally, at number 1, we have Rui Hachimura with a new PE of the Air Jordan 35. Okay, man, look, Jordan Brand has been absolutely going crazy with their PEs this season, and this cherry blossom colorway that they plugged Rui Hachimura up with might just be the best one yet. Inspired by the cherry blossom trees in both Japan, where Rui is from, and Washington, D.C., where Rui plays, this colorway is absolutely insane, with premium quality stitching and etching on the upper, as well as a flat out beautiful color scheme, which reminds me a lot of the iconic Arizona green tea can. Honestly, guys, I can't stress enough how much I love this colorway. If I had to pick just one shoe from this entire list to add to my collection, this is definitely the shoe that I would pick. Everything from the teal to the pink and that metallic gold Eclipse plate. I mean, come on, guys. These were easily, hands down, the best sneaker worn in the NBA during week 12 of the 2021 NBA season. And honestly, it wasn't even close. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this week's episode of NBA Kicks, which if you did, drop your boy a thumbs up because it helps me out a lot. And subscribe to the channel for more sneaker and NBA related content just like this. My name is Jaron. It's been great having you. Catch you guys in next week's episode. Peace!